Ellie finds the words "Feel Her Love" scribbled in blood by the Seraphites at the site of a grisly WLF massacre in The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4. Following on from Ellie and Dina's arrival in Seattle, this episode sets off their journey to discover the Washington Liberation Front and, more specifically, Abby. They wait till the sun sets and enter the building covertly after dark after spotting a WLF tag on a TV station. However, they're startled to discover that every wolf inside has died. At the scene of a horrific WLF massacre in The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4, Ellie discovers the Seraphites writing the words "Feel Her Love" in blood. This episode begins Ellie and Dina's search for the Washington Liberation Front, and more especially, Abby, after they arrive in Seattle. They wait till the sun sets and enter the building covertly after dark after spotting a WLF tag on a TV station. However, they're startled to discover that every wolf inside has died. Ellie discovers the words "Feel Her Love" inscribed in blood at the site of the deceased WLF members in Episode 4 of Season 2 of The Last of Us. The phrase "Feel Her Love" is frequently employed by Seraphites. The Seraphites typically write this statement in the blood of their opponents, despite its compassionate message. This sums up the main paradox of the Seraphite religion perfectly. The prophet established this organization on the principles of love and unity, yet the elders have twisted those principles to encourage murder, deceit, and slavery ever since she passed away. "Feel Her Love" is one of the many mantras used by the Seraphites. Isaac, the chief of the WLF, is seen torturing a nude Seraphite with a Williams-Sonoma saucepan that is extremely hot. The Seraphite refuses to divulge any information and instead keeps saying, "She guides me." The phrase, "May she guide you," which is basically the Seraphite equivalent of the Christian phrase, "Peace be with you," is frequently uttered by Seraphites to one another. It's what adherents of the faith say to one another to show compassion, friendship, and well wishes. The phrase "Feel Her Love" alludes to the Seraphites' adoration and loyalty to their prophet. The Seraphite prophet is the she in "May she guide you," and the her in "Feel Her Love." A woman with a vision of a post-apocalyptic utopia created the Seraphite faith shortly after the outbreak. She established the Seraphites by rejecting outdated technology and valuing farming, carpentry, and whittling customs. However, the elders assumed control of the church, intensified the conflict, and selected several young wives from among the local youngsters after she was apprehended and put to death by the WLF. In stark contrast to the prophet's original teachings, the Seraphites are currently hanging up wolves, removing their organs, and painting their logo in blood. It is amusing, then, that the Seraphites are still fixated on the prophet and the proverbs she invented. She didn't anticipate that her lectures on love would be inscribed in blood at a slaughter site. The backdrop narrative of The Last of Us Season 2 alludes to the central idea of Ellie's revenge story, which is the pointlessness of the never-ending cycle of violence. The game was restricted to Ellie's point of view, while the TV version of The Last of Us was able to cut away and introduce the Seraphites as they saw fit. She first discovers the existence of an odd religious cult while exploring Seattle on her first day there after seeing murals of the prophet with the words, "Feel Her Love." It is a fundamental principle of the Seraphite faith, but since the prophet coined it, it has also been so wildly distorted that it now means the opposite. Feel her anger. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos.